Okay, we're live today. Well, we're alive anyway. Um, I just want us to wait a few minutes. I don't know if it's gonna be minutes to just wait a little for people to join us on this program. On this program.
Amen.
So, hello viewers, you're welcome to this program today, Life and Relationship Realities with Tolu Alabi. Today it's a very important day because we are going to talk about something that people are struggling with. I've had to talk with people that are like, oh, I want to marry this boy, but parents are not aligning. I want to marry this girl. My parents are not aligning, And so today, we're going to share their own story and so on. When I was planning to bring this up, I said, oh my boys, I hope none of them is going to say, oh, there's somebody I want to marry, and then I have to struggle with it. But anyway, we're going to hear a lot today from this um, amazing man of God that is going to come. Today's probably double emotion for me. One of my very daughter that has been with me for 14 years lost a biological dad
Oh
and
no.
buried today in Jos, Nigeria. So it's a little bit of emotion, but he lived a fulfilled life. So that is on its own, Mr. Gurpar. He lived a fulfilled life. And so we thank God for his life and we thank God for the fact that he's going to be with the Lord. So it's something to rejoice about. It's not a barrier of money, but actually thanking God. It's just that it's heaven's gain, it's earth's loss. And so
Oh no.
the loss. And so we pray that the Lord continue to be with blessing, with power, and our family in Jos, Nigeria. And so
Amen.
today I have a guest. I have a guest that I've always been thinking, oh, I'm going to bring this pastor one day on this program. So finally, it's happening. And we want to the program today, we're going to be talking about real issues. I mean, real life issues of what happens on a daily basis and so on. When I was posting something this morning, I said this is going to be about persistence. And persistence is not just going to be about relationship. That's what life is about, to be persistent about certain things. You need that in business, you need that. So in case you feel, oh yeah, maybe I'm married to my wife already, my father-in-law cannot come around to say, I want my daughter or I want this,
Mm.
but this is still going to be relevant for your life. And then when you have children too, when your children is about to marry, because this man of God that is coming, his children too are going to be getting married one day, and I'm sure he's hoping that it's not going to be the same situation.
Same.
Okay, so I want to introduce our guest today is Pastor Zach Nombre. He's the pastor of Shana City Church in Aurora, Colorado, here in the US. And this man of God, I'm not going to blow his trumpet, but honestly, is a man of God that I've come to have so much respect for because he understands the word church. Church is not just your local assembly, is the large body of Christ. He understands the capital C, the big church, the body of Christ. When we were going to plan our youth conference, and I remember I told him, I said, we're planning our youth conference. We're thinking if we could use your church. And he said, Pastor Tolu, please, please, anytime you can come up, and he opened his church, not just his church, the instrumentalists, all the workers that were there for the whole Friday, for the whole Saturday. Even before that time when we were planning, it was just on board and
Mm.
without even saying, where is the offering? Give the church the offering. They did that without taking a dime. And that really just touched me. They use the electricity, they use a lot of things, but they decide to do that for this ministry. So, Pastor Zach, I thank
Yes.
God for your life. Like,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
help me welcome our guest, Pastor Zach. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Tolly, for the opportunity. Thank you for all those sweet words, good words. I take it with a grain of salt. It means a lot. Thank you so much, and thank you for what you are doing for our community and in Colorado. I believe that there's more that God is yet to. You have not started yet. You have not started yet. Amen. I'm
Amen.
happy to be here. Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for thank your wife too. When a man is doing well, it's because there's a wife that is giving him peace.
Amen. Amen.
Thank God for the first lady of Ghana City. People saw the flyer, so they saw the flyer. So today we want to talk about. So you married 5 years after you met your wife. Was that your intention?
Well, okay. Thank you so much once again for this opportunity to share my story. Uh, Very interesting topic and interesting area of discussion. So we first of all, it was not a intention to date for 5 years, but we ran into problems with the family, especially the dad whilst dating because I wasn't too young then, but she was very young. She was 21 ish. She was still in college, trying to figure out her life, you know. So dad had different plans for her. We also had different plans because we were in love. We were Christians. We just wanted to do it right. So after talking for a year, we were like, let's get married. And the dad is like, nope. When I look at this young man here trying to be a pastor and you are still in school, there's no way you guys are going to be able to take care of each other. And uh, unfortunately for from my experience, let me say that the father had seen a lot of pastors or worked with a lot of pastors who were struggling, who didn't have a good life. And he had vowed that he would never let any of the daughters marry a pastor. You know, forward fast forward today, both daughters are all married to pastors.
Oh,
Yeah, so I would say that in the first place, the dad was a big hindrance to we getting married earlier.
mm,
And today, I'm going to share that later, but today I probably understand him better because I'm
mm,
a parent now. So I look at things differently. So I'm probably going to come from a parent perspective and then a
yeah.
young man who is in love, who just wants to go. I'm going to come from both sides. And
Okay. So, Pastor,
yeah,
I want to, that bit about, yeah, young person in love. I want to start, with that. Where were you at this particular time? Were you in the US? Were you in Ghana? And
yes. So I was in US.
okay.
I had migrated to Denver, Colorado from Delaware, and I had met my wife in the choir. So I joined I joined this church and I saw this beautiful lady in the choir and I was interested. So
The US, sorry, that's in the US.
in the US in Colorado, in
So that
Colorado.
means she came from Ghana to also school in the US.
Yes, actually from Italy. The family had moved from Italy to the US maybe 10 years before I got here.
Okay. So
Yes. So
you got into the church and you saw this beautiful lady in the choir. I don't know what
yes.
it is with men with choir lead. You know,
I
especially,
think
especially if somebody knows that they're going to be a choir. Is it that
uh,
you're thinking, oh, when I start a church, she's going to be leading the choir? What is it?
I think when I think the choir tends to be the most active, I would say, church workers department in the ministry. So when people are looking for a lady who is hardworking in the church or in the kingdom, it's easy because they are front runners. You see them all the time standing, so they always look good. I mean, they are always active in the church, so you tend to look through the choir first. And interestingly, most pretty girls can sing, so it just makes it easy.
Okay. So let me ask you, when you met her, were you already thinking ministry?
So when I met her, I was already doing ministry. I was already a pastor, to be honest with you. I was pastoring a ministry, a little ministry that I just started in a hotel, and it was struggling. I only had 3 members, and we were struggling for a long time. But I used to visit their church to do youth events, youth activities with them. So a couple of times their pastor asked me to preach at their youth conference, which I did. So, you know, the funny thing was when I found her every Sunday after my service, I drove to that church just to hang out.
Okay, because you find that. Okay, so let's talk about when you met her. Before meeting her, were you at the stage, because it get to a stage where someone really is looking for someone to marry.
Mary.
Sometimes you just meet the person and you're dating and you're like, oh yeah, we can get married. So what was your experience? Were you really looking out for someone to marry, or you were just busy doing your thing like Adam was doing, and God said, man of God, this is it?
My story is a little different because I had, you know, I migrated to the US when I was 25. I was already doing active ministry before I came. And I told God that I want to marry at the age of 25, you know, so I can focus on ministry. But when I met my wife, I'm pretty sure I was probably a little above 30. Yeah, I look young, but I'm old.
So
So,
all of the while there was nobody for that.
oh, there was. Before coming to the US, I had someone that we were dating, but it didn't work out because of distance issues. So I was believing God for somebody, I was seriously praying that God, I need somebody so I can focus. I don't want to be in one relationship and the other relationship, because as a pastor, by the time you marry, everybody knows you that this guy has been around the block. And I was praying that that would not be my story. So God was very merciful to me. When I met her, I was living alone. I had a job, which are two very important things if you want to get married. I had a job. I was pastoring. I had my own place. So the only thing that I felt I needed was a woman. But until we started talking and dating, and like I said, now that I'm a parent, I look back and I realize that I was not ready mentally. I wasn't ready emotionally to be a husband, to be very honest. But because I had one vow to God, I wanted to God, let me get married at 25. Here I am, I'm 30. I thought I was ready. But after we got married, I realized that there was a lot of all those times that were delayed. God was using that to prepare me to be a better husband and a better father and a better pastor. Because
Mm,
it's when you're young, all you look at is, I mean, love. I love her. I don't. You can't sleep without her. You can't stop thinking about her. You need her in your space. But when you get married, you realize that it's real stuff. It's not the feeling. It's not the all of that is there, but they tend to be just a spark or a percentage of what marriage is really about.
mm.
So I was ready, but she wasn't ready, to be very honest. She wasn't ready. And when we got married, we both realized that there was a cause for us to be delayed, and sometimes God has a hand in all of this.
Mm.
Yeah.
So when you saw her, And I don't know if it was the first time you went into the church that you spotted that she's pretty, so she's easy to be spotted quickly. But what did you do after seeing her? Like, oh, this is so. What was the thing? Did you go immediately? Did you? Some people even go immediately in the name of the anointing. Oh, God, I've said you are the one that matters. Or, oh, I love you. I want to. I mean, you are seeing somebody for the first time and you are saying, I love you. I want to marry you. What did you now do? How did you get to start talking to her?
So my story is a little interesting. So first of all, before I started, I met her in church. I used to work at the mall and I used to take the bus. I didn't have a car, so I take the bus, go to Park Meadows Mall to do. I used to do cleaning for the Mac shop. It's a beauty shop.
Yeah, the powder.
So yes, every morning when I'm on my way to get on my bus to the mall, I met this particular lady also trying to get on the same bus.
Ooh.
And I could see she's going to school. This is a student trying to go to school. And I'll try to say hi, and this lady would not even look at me. She just focused on her books and all that. I was like, "Ah." So even the days I didn't work, I just went to the bus stop to get on the bus because I wanted to see this lady again, just try to get her attention. But she never budged for my hi or. So when I started going to the church, then I saw my wife now, and I was like, I like this girl too. Let me talk to her. But like I said, she was not easy to talk to because she was very quiet. So I became friends with her sister, her younger sister, just to get to her. And interestingly, one of the days when I was about to get on my bus to go to work, I saw this particular lady again, only to realize that the same girl I've been seeing in church is the same girl that is always trying to get on the bus. And this time she realized that it's me. She knew she had met me from church, but I could not correlate that it's the same girl because the dressing in church is different and the dressing on the bus. So I was confused, to be very honest. But apparently I was seeing the same girl, and she's like, "Hey, Pastor." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is the girl I'm trying to make a move on. She knows I'm the pastor." Oh my goodness. So, but anyway, so that started a friendship where at church she opened up, she knew me, and then at the bar, I get to sit next to her, and then we just talk casually. I was like, okay, I'm making progress. But it took me a year to finally be able to ask her for a number. I mean, being around the church, working with the church, God was so good. The little church I started closed down because the pastor in that church asked me to come work with him, and I didn't even think about it. I rushed because I knew I had interest in there. I closed down my small church and joined that church.
Okay.
So now I'm this now I'm closer. So we started getting to know each other from church. But it took me a year to actually, I'm a pastor, so I have to behave myself. Today, the young men we have now, they are faster. They move very fast. They see you today. They take. It took me a while to take a number. I took a number, and then we started talking from there.
Okay.
I can say one thing. I remember the day I took a number, the first time I called there, this woman was very straightforward. What do you want from me? Do you want? Very interesting.
Okay. So,
Mm.
thank you, Pastor Rosemary, for watching. Pastor Mary is online. Thank
Oh,
you
nice.
for watching. Yes.
Thank you.
So, it took you that 1 year because you wanted to take things easy and so on. That's rather long, but it's okay. Because
Very long.
yeah, because if you are taking the number earlier, that's the way that she will have confronted you to say, what do you want from me? So
Yes.
apart from that, when she asked you what do you want, at that point, did you know what you wanted?
Oh, for a year, I'd processed all of that. I'd been checking her out, and nothing had changed. I think I got to like her even more better, So I was very certain that I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to date. I wanted to be with her. So I told her, well, the answer I gave her is I want to marry you. And that's why I want to talk to you. And she's like, well, she's not interested in dating or talking or those kind of boyfriend, girlfriend. If this is if I want something serious, then yeah, we can talk. I said, yeah, I want something serious.
I like when somebody knows what they want,
Yes,
especially when
yes.
the girl knows what she wants.
It was
This
a little scary though that she was very direct. So I knew I couldn't make. I wasn't there to play games.
PS5 cannot work here.
Yes, yeah, I can't play games with this one.
So when then you responded about what you wanted.
Then we started talking for, because she had known me for a year in the church as a friend. She was just studying me or getting to know me as a friend. And I believe that I pray that most people will have it that way, but today most people don't have it that way. I feel like anytime a relationship starts based on we want to date or we want to be in a relationship, if that's the first reference point, uh, it can run into a few challenges. Not all, but because everybody will pretend, everybody will want to prove a point. But when you're just around each other in a church setting or in a group setting for a while and you just know each other as friends, I think you get to know who this person is more before you start dating them. But like I'm saying, most people don't have it that way. So I wouldn't take that away from them. But if you have it that way, I think it's the best.
Yeah. I mean, different people. My friend Pastor Rosemary is on, I think our own, I don't think you took 2 months, but
Yes, yes.
yeah, because they also introduced themselves, they were sincere with themselves, because some people they can date for even 5 years and they're not sincere with themselves. They're hiding things,
Hmm.
then they get married and you find out that what happened with all the years, that they dated. I mean, I met my husband within that same year we were married. But you said something that is very key here. You talk about friendship.
Yes.
Friendship is very important. When
Very, very important.
a friend, because even the pastors me that were talking about with Pastor Charles, they were always on the phone. They were relating with themselves. They were talking to themselves. They were open to themselves. What they had, though, it was more like what you say, even years. Because they were sincere with themselves from the get-go. And I think that was the thing with their relationship too. They knew what they wanted. This is
They
what
knew what they wanted.
you wanted. And that's the thing as Christians, not to get into relationship that you start playing games. So then both of you decide to say you want to marry.
Yes.
So what now happened before the
So
now? Did you just, okay, we met, okay, yeah, let's fix wedding date? What
yes,
happened?
so that was the plan. So the moment we started, we understood each other that hey, this is what I'm serious. I'm not here to play games. She's like, yeah, I'm 21. I'm ready for marriage. I think I'm ready to get to know someone in that level for marriage. So I would say we marriage was not on the table from that first point of talking. I mean, we needed some time to really get to know each other because you can know someone in a group setting, but when you decide to get to know them on a personal level, you might find things that will interest you or put you off. So we decided to just get to know each other. I picked them up for church, for services. I visited our work and those kind of things. So I think after a year is when we were very convinced that we're ready for marriage. And I mean, from a guy's perspective, age is not a problem. We are not scared to get old. she was now 21, turning 22. There was no pressure. But like I said, from where I sit now, the best advice I'll give to anyone that is dating is, and you're a Christian, even if you're not a Christian and you want to do it right, the maximum should be a year. If you want to get married, the longest should be a year. If it's going to be longer than a year, based on different circumstances, sometimes a few reasons would demand that you go longer than that. I believe you need counseling on that. You need to find accountability partners that can help you to be able to do that. Else, you might be doing things you shouldn't be doing. So we decided to marry. But the funny thing is, the father began to pick up leads that this young man is coming closer than usual. What's going on here? And he would ask the daughter, and the daughter would say, no, he's just our pastor, nothing serious. But I think the father could see that, no, this young man was too close. So something was going on. So he started giving warnings here and there that you're not getting married anytime soon until you finish your job, finish school, do your master's, get your dream car, get your dream house, get your dream job before you marry anybody.
Ooh, that was the way of like, okay, no, by the time she's doing that, the pastor won't be able to wait again.
So the funny thing was him saying that. We thought it was a joke. She told me, I said, oh, that's what, you know how fathers are. He's just trying to be a dad, so don't worry about it. The next thing I knew is she called me and said, I can't talk to you anymore. This relationship is over. I said, why? My father said he had a dream. I was trying to, and there was a guy in my life. He's a Muslim. I was born a Muslim, and he raped you. Oh, Jesus. I said, what? So technically, the father was referring to me. So she's like, I don't have nothing to do with you. Relationship is over. Done. I said, okay. Because I don't want to come close and then you rape me. I'm like, I'm not that kind of guy. But my father had a dream. So I said, okay, fine. So for 3 months, she won't pick up my call. She won't talk to me. We'll meet at church. She will not even look at me. After 3 months, I decided to just call, check on her, and she picked up the call. We talked, and then the relationship started again.
So how did the relationship, and I wanted to say something that was a gentleman of you to say that even when she didn't want to and you knew that this was going to be, you were still checking on her. Another person was like, oh, there are so many sisters in the church, they'll be so glad to marry a pastor. But you stayed on that relationship because you knew that was a right relationship. Other
Yes.
people will quickly just check out, start talking to another person, but you stayed on it.
I stayed on it. In fact, she had girlfriends who were also single, who were like, Pastor, just forget about this girl. We are here,
So
we can come. It's crazy, it's crazy. But I was focused. I knew what I wanted, and I was willing to fight till it didn't work out. Then I knew, and I'll tell you more when we go ahead. There was a time where we did a lot of things.
okay.
So we started talking again, and then I think the father figured it out again. They went to a church program. The man of God called them and said, oh, I see your daughter in a relationship, and she needs to get out of that relationship, else she's gonna, So she got home. She said, oh, we went to a prophetic meeting, and the man of God saw a relationship. So all of that, we broke up again. We broke up at least 3 or 4 times because it was always from the father or somebody.
Okay, Pastor, this thing that you're saying, especially this one to say a prophet say this, a prophet say that, is good to be careful.
Yes.
Because I've seen things that one prophet somewhere saw some things, and destroy something that could be beautiful. That
Mm.
does not mean that people can't listen. If you go somewhere and a prophet said, the Bible said we should always check the spirit. Check
Mm.
the spirit, and in 2 or 3 witnesses, a matter is established. Sometimes they say that thing and is right. Sometimes they say that thing and is wrong. And someone that is already on the edge of something can believe even what is not right.
Right. Yes. Yes. See, by God's grace, sometimes I operate in the prophetic. I would say that a prophet should never be prophesying a husband or a wife. Uh, like especially when they are telling you specific names, specific description. One should be very careful and seek the confirmation of God.
And you
Because
don't know these people. You
yes,
don't know the story. You don't know anything.
yes. So I mean, this thing went on for years. I mean, for a couple of years to a point where I had to seek apostolic help. So I went to Pastor Rosemary and Pastor Nanaya. If she's still on there, thank you so much, Pastor Rosemary. And I'm like, look, I'm really interested in this girl. We've been dating for 4 years now,
Hmm.
and I want to marry this girl. And we are getting to the point where uh, a lot of tempers and emotions are flying all over the place, passions are flying over the place, and it's taking grace for me. And I've always said this. I'll be honest. It's taken me a lot of grace to be able to hold myself together.
Okay,
Uh,
sorry. I want to talk about that Lord of grace too, because people are watching, somebody can be blessed. So the 4 years of relationship, you kept each other.
yes.
Or
So
sex in the relationship.
yes, say that again, please.
I said there was no sex in the relationship.
Yeah, we married. We both married as virgins, and I was more than 30 years old then. But it was not easy. There were temptations all over the place, and there are things I could mention that uh, happened in the relation in those years. But I'm so grateful to God that He helped us not to do the thing we're not supposed to do, which is sex. We didn't have sex, and I think I'll always account it to the fact that my wife was a virgin. I've always said that if the woman is not a virgin and you are in a relationship for that long,
To be putting pressure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, women are. I think if the woman is able to say no, it's very easy for you guys to be able to do. And she would encourage me. She'll pray with me. She'll tell me it's possible. We can do it. Don't give up. Don't give up. I didn't. That doesn't mean we didn't hug. There were no kisses here and there. They happened. But she would make sure that when you don't touch me here, don't.
God
There
bless.
has to be boundaries. There has to be, any relationship, whether be it a boy a girl relationship, or business relationship, or even platonic relationship, or just friendship. If you don't set boundaries in those relationships, you always run into problems. There has to be. You can't call me at this time. When I'm doing this. There has to be boundaries set in any relationship for it to thrive. And I think those were the things that really helped us.
Hmm.
And it's not about setting the boundaries and not following them and not talking about them. You have to talk about the boundaries. You have to talk about, and it doesn't mean that when we had time alone, she sat on one side of the couch and sat on one side. No, we sat close to each other, but we just respected the fact. And I would express how I'm feeling, and she would tell me, "Trust me, I get it, I understand." And there was a time we have to reduce the sin of each other because it kept getting stronger. When you like someone, you would want them. You know, it got to a point. The reason why I sought for help was I told my wife, "This is the last year I'm doing this.
I'm drawing the line.
I'm done. If we can't get married a year from today, I'm not doing this anymore because I can't. I have to move on. I have to. look for somebody that I can, be intimate with or marry and then get. I can't do this anymore. So, and I shouldn't be putting that. No one should put such a pressure on a young lady. If you really love this person, because I saw she was fighting. She was really fighting her. This pressure I put on her got her to start fighting her parents so she can just move out of the house and move in with me. And then I realized, I know I'm a pastor. You can't move in with me. We can't do that. It's like, I don't care. I'm going to move in. I'm like, nope, we're not doing that. And I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. If you are in that situation based on you don't have no family here and you guys are stuck together, please seek help so you can do it the right way immediately. So that pushed me to talk to Pastor Rosemary. Pastor Nana said, I need you guys to go talk to my father-in-law so he can release this woman for me. And after the talk, it was not a good experience. The man was still firm on his stance that I'm not going to release my daughter for this man. My daughter is not marrying no pastor. My daughter needs to finish school, get her dream job, dream car, dream house, and then she can do whatever she wants to do. And even at that point, not a pastor. So to be very honest with you, at that point, Pastor Rosemary, they advised me and said, look, if you really love this girl, we're going to advise you to wait, but we don't see what is going to change. You have a big decision to make. Maybe go back to God and keep praying. It was a very difficult situation, very, very difficult situation because
Pastor Rosemary and Pastor Charles, they are from the same, you guys are all from the same country.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that it's very important also to point out to say, find someone that person can actually respect.
Yes.
It's good to find somebody because Adibin, you've even gone to find anybody that does not have any reputation. That will have become another problem on its own.
Yes, and let me take this opportunity to say, being a pastor, I've run into a lot of problems with young people in the church where they just want to move out of their parents' home and move in with their boyfriend because mom and dad is not agreeing for them to marry. And I keep telling them it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You need the blessing of your father, you need the blessing of your mom. So look for somebody who can go talk to your parents, someone like you said, that your parents will respect and can listen to give them a reason why you deserve to be with that person. Don't just do whatever you think you can do because you're in America. We're in America, my mom. No, please don't do that. You run chances of raining a curse on your life. I ran into a problem where this young lady was living alone. The young man was living alone and they were ready to get married. So the young lady in January wanted to marry in August. Her lease would end in August. So she wanted to marry in August and move in with the brother. I took the lady to the father because the father was very difficult. So the father can allow her to marry by August. So from January, we were doing the talk. And the father would not agree. The father just would not agree, and he didn't have any reason. He just said, no, I'm not going to agree on the marriage. So in August, the young lady told me, Pastor, we tried. I'm not going to try anymore. I'm moving in with him. And she did that. Do I support that? I would say no, but there are instances where sometimes you've tried everything, you've done everything you can do, and it's just what it is. So they went to court, got married, and they moved in. But I wouldn't advise anyone to do that if you have the opportunity to have somebody talk to your parents. And if you are listening to me, young man, young woman, marriage is a marathon. It's a marathon, it's a journey, and it's always important that you do it right, So after the talk, I left it to God because at this point there was nothing we could do. And she knew I'm giving a year from that time and I was gonna move on. And to be honest with you, I didn't mean my words, but I had to say something. because I didn't know how I was going to move on
Under
and leave
pressure
her.
too.
Yes, yes. But along the line, I believe probably 6 months after that talk, the father called me. Yes, the father called me. Actually, yes, I think he called me and said, I need you to come. So I called her. I said, what does your father need me for? He said, I don't know. He said he wants to see you. I said, my goodness. So I went to sit with the man and he said, you know what? I think I've had enough of this nightmares I've been having.
Oh.
I've been having a lot of nightmares. I can't sleep. I see angels chasing me all over the place. He's fallen off his bed because I took it to God in fasting and prayer, which I would recommend.
Mm, mm.
I believe we are talking to believers on here. So he said, look, I'm releasing my daughter to you because I want to have peace. I am convinced that God wants you to have my
Oh, whoa.
daughter. No, I couldn't believe it. I was startled because, this is a situation of if there is a God that answers prayer, then there's a God to pray to. And I've been praying to God for years and I didn't know it was working. Apparently, the prayer has been working on the man, but he was just fighting it until he couldn't fight it any longer. But he knew that whatever he was dealing with in his dreams, it was God telling him to release the daughter for me. So he asked me, when can you marry her?
Oh, whoa. Whoa.
This is a miracle. We couldn't believe it because we're not even ready. We had given up on the whole thing. We're not ready. And we looked at each other like, when can we get married? We're like, can we think about it? We'll get back to you,
Wow.
you know. And that was our breakthrough right there because we chose to let God fight the battle for us. We could have gone to the route of get her pregnant, and then it is what it is, or she can move in. There was a time the mother called me and said, you know what, just come and take her. She's fighting all of us in the house here. She can move in. We don't care anymore. I said, that is a curse. I'm not gonna take that bait. So we received his blessing. We set up a date, which was the following year. And God being so good, we married successfully. And God did it. God did it. God actually did it. You
Mm,
know, yeah, because he gave credit. One of the things he also mentioned, which I would make reference to, is that he said something. He said, I know my daughter. I have fought my daughter for 5 years, and my daughter has never changed her mind. That tells me that she knew what she had found. Apart from God dealing with me, for her to stick with you for 5 years, it means that my daughter has she knew what she wanted,
mm,
and that alone meant a lot for him as a father.
mm,
You know,
mm.
like I said, recently I was talking to my wife, and as we're both parents now with two boys. I told her if you were 21, 22, 23, you're still in school. I asked her, would you give your daughter to a man who could not figure out his life, in school, 23, to marry that man? She had to think for a moment. It's like, wow, it makes a lot of sense. Your father was just, maybe he was extreme, but your father was just trying to protect you. Imagine, so I asked her, imagine if you were 35 years old or 36 years old, and I walked in and I wanted to marry, your father will not delay that marriage, even if you were still in school, for another 5 years, because he knows that at 35, you're old, you're getting old, and you if we don't let you go quickly. But so age plays a lot of factor in some of these things. Because at 22, what is the rush? At 23, what is the rush? I'm not saying you can't marry at 23, you can't marry at 25. You can. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing, it's a blessing. But if there are things you are working on, like school,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
trying to find yourself,
Yeah.
trying to, you don't even have, I have boys in our church who are cohabiting, like roommates, you know, they are roommate, three guys, four guys in a room, and they are trying to talk to girls who are at the age where they really need serious marriage. And I'm like, no, you are not ready.
Yeah.
Don't go waste her time, because
Yeah.
she's 25, you are 27, but you're still in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
roommate situation. You haven't figured your life out yet. Please don't waste the time.
Yeah,
Don't waste the time.
because like you rightly said, Pastor, it's not about age. I look at Ora Robert. Ora Robert was about 22 or thereabout when he married, and the wife
Wow.
was, I think, 18 or 19. But then there was real maturity, the co-counsel, because that's one of the things that people don't do today. People don't submit themselves for proper counseling, for proper mentoring, that sometimes some people can be 40 something and they are still not matured. People can be 50 something and still not matured.
Matured, right.
You see people that are younger in age, they're matured in their spirit, in their soul, financially. They know what they want to do, they know where they're getting. And I think this is it, when people just jump on only emotions, because
Yes.
you feel like, emotions will always come, you will always feel, but you cannot build your future based on emotion.
Emotions.
You can
Woo,
base your
that's
future.
deep.
So
That's deep.
you guys married, and then your father was happy. His father, our father was happy eventually.
Oh, there's nothing like um let me be very careful how I say that, because some people did not have it that way and they still had successful marriages. But there's nothing like marrying and your in-laws are at peace with you, you know, and giving you their blessings. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. And like I said, I'm sorry for those who could not have it that way due to a few, challenges here and there. But if you can do it right, I would always encourage you to do it right and get the blessing of your in-laws, And ever since we've married, God has been so faithful. God has proven himself in our lives. The father one day came to our house and said, ever since you married my daughter, I had so many doubts that you'll be able to take care of her. And no, the funny thing is, the first year when we married, oh Jesus, we ran into so many financial struggles. It's not even a joke. There was so much pressure at home. And here I am saying, oh my goodness, now the father is going to be like, I said it. It was so bad that, our grocery store was the father's home. That's where she would go and get tomatoes, rice. And the mother would look at her and know that there's something going on. And he said, oh, no, 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 there's nothing going on. We just don't want to waste money. So you guys have too many. So I'm picking some. The first year, we only had one car. And because I had sold my car just to do the wedding, and which is something I would always say. The marriage is more important than the wedding. The
Maybe
marriage
you
is,
were also unconsciously trying to prove the father wrong, because
yes.
those things come up like, okay, I'm going to do something to show, like I can take care of your daughter, and then, oh, we need this, oh, I'm going to pay for it. Okay, this, I'm going to pay for it. And then you came to realize that, well, I shouldn't have done that, but the wedding was off. Now I know your wife, I know the car she drives. And I know that she has a dream house today. She has a dream house today because God,
Oh man.
yes, God is blessed both of you and blessed your family. So in all of this, as we begin to wrap up, what is your word even for people that want to marry? Let's start with young people. I know you're very passionate about the youth. Let's stop, because a lot of things are happening in homes now. There's a lot of divorce going on here and there, and I always say that most of the time these things start from the foundation. A
Yes.
lot of it start from the foundation, and a lot of it in the middle, and a lot of it, with the surroundings and every other thing that could affect that. So what is your advice for young people? Young people that, oh, I love this person, I'm just gonna be with this person, even when they are not even ready. I always said, I say, boys go to school, men get into relationship,
Mm,
because are you gonna be responsible for that person?
mm.
So, but what is your word? What are you saying to young people?
Let me take it from the last word you said, responsibility. I wrote something down here. Let me read it quickly. That marriage has more to do with human responsibility than sovereign choice.
Mm,
It is a covenant of marriage that God honors. That is to say that there is no perfect divine choice for anybody. Marriage has more to do with human responsibility than sovereign choice. Marriage has more to do with, I'm in love. I feel this about him. It has more to do with human responsibility. It's a responsibility than feelings, than, you know, this is how I feel about her. And I'm not saying that that is not important. It's important. But your feelings must match your responsibilities. You
mm,
must be ready to take on and to be able to take care of yourself first,
mm,
to be able to take care of somebody's daughter,
mm.
or to be able to take care of somebody's son. You
Yeah.
know, if you are not at that point, like we said, look for counseling, look for help. I like this girl. I have this feeling for her. I want to marry her. I want to be with her. We both want to be together, but we need advice. There are two marriages I blessed. I've blessed a couple of marriages. There are two I blessed. That was a great eye opener for me, which will lead to my advice. I blessed a marriage, and then there was a fight. I went to to counsel this couple. So after listening to the fight and the argument, I asked them, "Why did you guys get married?" The lady looked at me and said, "Ask him." So I asked the guy, "Why did you get married?" The guy couldn't talk. And she's like, "Let me tell you why he got married. He got married just to prove a point to his friends that he can also be a husband. You know, he can also do a big wedding." I'm like, "For real?" So
Mm,
I asked the lady, "So why did you marry him if you
mhm.
knew that was the reason why?" He said, "Well, we've been together for so long, I had to just do it for him."
Oh.
Yes. So she told me, "Do you remember when we came to your office and you asked us why we were getting married?" He answered, I didn't answer. That's what she told me. And then she asked me, "Do you remember when you were telling us to say the vows?" I kept laughing. And I
Oh.
was so surprised. I was like, wow, so people get married for the wrong reasons.
Hmm.
You know, there was a couple right now who are divorced. The husband is 30. The wife was less than 30. They are divorced. I blessed the marriage. Within a year, the marriage is gone. So I asked the guy, "Why did you marry her?" "Oh, I've been with her for so long. I just wanted to do it so that her family would know that at least I married her." I said, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
You know, so I asked the wife, "Why did you guys decide to get together?" He said, "Well, we have a couple of kids together, and my family keeps laughing at me. So,
Hmm.
so people get married for the wrong reasons."
Hmm.
Very disappointed. I want to advise every young person here that get never be with someone because you want to prove a point to them, or you want to make them know that at least after staying with them for so long, you marry them. Because the day after the marriage ceremony,
Hmm.
things are going to hit the roof, and you're going to realize that, oh my goodness, it's a big, big mistake.
Hmm.
Seek counseling. If you want to be with somebody seriously, seek counseling. Look for somebody older you can talk to. And how do we go about this? You know, expose your flaws, expose your weaknesses to an accountability partner, a pastor, a older parent that have been married for long, and said, "This is my weakness. How do I handle this in marriage? How do I handle this moving forward with this person?" And people will help you, and they will teach you. Don't just move ahead so quick because you have strong feelings for each other. Get her pregnant so you can be together. Or moving together just to do whatever you want to do. I've seen people lose their lives. This thing is not a joke because they went into the wrong relationships. There's a lot I can say, but I'll leave it here. I'll leave it here for now.
We're still gonna probably do another meeting. Like this so far, we've already like spent 55 minutes already.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So the thing is, I like the way you mentioned that, especially people feeling, oh, because I've been with this person for so long, let it not be like I wasted our time or wasted his time, or you begin to feel you don't marry for pity.
Yes.
You don't marry because you pity somebody. You
Yes.
don't even, I tell people that even got pregnant, you don't marry somebody because you even got pregnant.
Yep.
Because you may not be, some people are good as friends, but they are not good together as husband and wife.
Right.
They're
Yes.
not good together living in the same house. And that's when people don't know the difference and feel that, oh, because we talk a lot, we laugh a lot, we can talk for hours, we can do this, and they think that because of that, they are good for marriage. And you also said something about, we talk about mentoring is very, very important. Even though, Pastor, I see some people that want to mentor. I don't know if it has happened to you when you are mentoring somebody and you're trying to help the person, but then another mentor mentors them to say, go ahead, do it. Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her, and then the person will go ahead. And
Yes.
later in life, things will happen. I've seen that over and over again, and I feel really sad. Like, why do people have to suffer this way to do? But then you can't force people, because at the end of the day, it's gonna look to them like, oh, is she the only one that knows what is right? Is he the only one that know? Because you're still gonna let people make their choices. At the end of the day.
So this is something interesting I found about relationships. Most people fall in love with their emotions and feelings before they start thinking about the real issues. So by the time you start pointing the real issues to them, they are so involved that they can't even hear you at that point. How do you, and I've been hearing this for so long. Some people get it. And I realize that when you're a woman, a young lady, and these things, you attract the right man, and most men will be intimidated by you. That why are you asking me all these questions? But don't fall in love, and you're madly in love. And when love is true, you don't fall in it, you stand in it. But when you're madly in love and there are issues and you've waited till you've already fallen in love, that you can't even walk, you're swimming in it, and then you seek help. I mean, that's where the different mentors start coming in, because you're not telling them what they want to hear.
They want to do something, they just need you to affirm
Affirm.
they want to do, like, okay, it's not to feel guilty. And the thing, Pastor, is that most times everybody knows what is wrong. Sometimes people can feel it. I tell people, once you start asking people, oh, do you think this is okay? Oh, do you think this guy is so, that means something is nudging in you to say, watch.
Yes.
And
yes.
They just want to go. Every marriage, I said, the Bible said the person that built his house on the rock and the person that built the house on the sand, both of them, rain came, storm came. So in everything you do, whoever you marry, there will still be certain challenges, there will be things to deal with, but when it's done right, it helps the house to stay.
To stand.
When you get into it wrongly, then it's like a house that is built on the sand that can easily be washed away.
Yes. Yes.
One final word before we close for today.
Yeah. So, like you said, that's very powerful. it doesn't mean that all that I went through, all that I did, I have a perfect marriage. I don't. Marriage is work, you know. Whoever you marry, even if God chose them for you, there's gonna be problems.
Mhm.
There's gonna be some trials. There's gonna be some Dianas. There's gonna be some shield. There's gonna be some hate.
Mm.
I don't care if they are God's first cousins. They are gonna have problems, you know. But the thing is that I said something yesterday at church that I'd rather have problems knowing there is God in it than to
Mm.
have problems knowing that God is not in it. As long as God is in it, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna come out successful. I will not look like the problem. I'll
Mm.
actually learn something from it. So,
Amen.
young people, I know love is sweet, uh, but let God guide you. You know, let God guide you. Look for counsel. Look for help. It's a
Mm.
marathon,
Mm.
and you will not regret it. God bless you all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pastor Zach. Thank your beautiful wife
Mm,
too. One of
thank you.
these days, she's gonna come up on this program too. We're just gonna close for viewers that have been watching us. Please share this video if you can. It will save some people. And I want to say, if you're having challenges in your life, in your relationship, you know, God is built a community around every one of us. God
Mm,
knows that you cannot deal with all of your troubles, all of your challenges. You don't have, if you have all that it takes, you won't even be there in the first place. So
amen.
it's nothing wrong in reaching out. Pastor Zach had to reach out to some people. I've seen wonderful people that are married today that I've had to talk with, counsel through, and through the process as well. You know, parents have good intention. I mean, averagely, we have seen some situation where the parent doesn't have it, just find somebody else, maybe that has more money, or somebody that
Hmm.
they had promised something, and sometimes they even want to give their daughter because they want to get even with somebody, as ridiculous
Mm,
as that can be, you know. But averagely, parents have a good intention for their children. And when they say wait or something, it's also a test of what your feelings truly are. When you have to wait for that person, it means a lot. And please reach out if you're having challenges. If you need prayer, please reach out. We can pray together. God did a miracle for Pastor Zach and concerning his marriage. It's not only marriage that God does miracle. He does miracle of healing, miracle of provision, miracle of financial breakthrough, miracle of opening of eyes, whatever it is. Please call on to God. God is a miracle worker. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And if you don't have a local church, please find a local church. You can check Pastor Zach out on his social media. You can go to Shana City Church website and so on. You know, they're a wonderful church. I mean, like I told you, we needed a place for youth conference. They opened up the place. It was amazing. And Pastor
mm.
Zach, his wife, they were so committed to the program. And I want to thank you again, Pastor Zach. I want to
Thank
thank
you.
your
Thank
wife,
you.
the whole China City Church. I want to thank you. You're wonderful instrumentalist, wonderful people, powerful choir.
We love you. They love you. They love you. So we want to see you soon.
I really appreciate. Thank you. And I've ministered in your church also. You've invited me.
Mm,
I really
mm.
appreciate that. So Pastor Rosemary is online. Pastor Rosemary and Pastor Charles, they are the founders of Colorado Association of African Pastors. They are wonderful people. She's a wonderful friend. I'm able to talk with her. We talk about things, and we're just able to relate, you know, to be able to discuss things. I discuss things with her too, issues, and she's a powerful counselor, a prophetic woman, a woman of the spirit, a great teacher. She's just full package, you know, and her
Hallelujah.
husband too, you know. So you have wonderful people around you, viewers. You have wonderful people around you that you can reach to, and I pray that the Lord will help you. And so, Pastor Zach, we're going to do a program for the young people one day about relationship. We'll do live program, and they can ask
Okay.
their questions also. So
Amen.
see you next week. We're starting a new month is starting. I want to quickly say something. At the end of every month, I gather with my family and we give thanks at the end of every month. This evening, we're going to do it. We're going to thank God for what God, and everybody will share their testimony. We'll read Psalms to thank God, and everybody pray around. I know some people ask me, like, what are the things you do? So you can do that with your family. That does not mean you are less spiritual if you don't do that, and so you can do that. The beginning of the new month is tomorrow. Please start with God. Let your new month start with God. Start to pray and pray concerning the new month. This new month for us as a ministry, we're focusing on prayer and power of God. And so we're going to be talking about a lot about how to make wealth. We're going to spiritual wealth, financial wealth, and so on like that. That's what we're going to be focusing on in August. So join us every Monday and share this as well. So, Pastor Zach, again, thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you.
We'll see you next week. Keep loving God, love yourself, and love others. Pastor, please wait. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.